Hi everybody, Al the Psych here. Got a short little presentation for you about schedules for students or children that are on the autism spectrum. Again, this is just for informational purposes and my thoughts on the subject. You go ahead and do your due diligence and check it out online or in books to see if what I've presented meshes with what you find out. In any case, let's get started. So, when I was working as a school psychologist, I worked with a lot of students that were on the autism spectrum. And the teachers usually had their classes set up so there'd be a visual schedule so the students could see exactly what was going to happen during the course of the school day. And again, like I said, it's visual, it's posted. And they'd see what they were going to do, and then typically when that activity was done, it was on Velcro, they'd pull that activity and they would go to the done column. But there's different ways of setting up the actual visual schedule. So now if you're a teacher or a parent with a child who's on the autism spectrum, you know that these children like to typically have a nice routine. They like to know what's coming up next, and not having a routine can lead to some behavioral challenges. The problem is, and I've run into issues with parents and advocates sometimes about doing this, but the problem is that having everything so structured doesn't teach the child to deal with surprise scenarios, unexpected scenarios that may occur from time to time, whether it be in the classroom or whether it be at home or out in public. So using a question mark on the visual schedule helps the student deal with unstructured activities, unstructured scenarios, and helps the child develop the ability to delay gratification. Okay, so the question mark is in place of a definitive activity that the child would know is going to take place. So I remember that the teacher usually would work, or often would work, in collaboration with the speech and language pathologist, and they'd work out a visual schedule that included the question mark, so the students in class would not know what was going to happen next. Now, if I were to, usually I didn't assist with the schedule, but if I were to assist, if they asked to collaborate with me, I would prefer to initially have the question mark be an activity that the student, or if you're doing this at home, your child, it would be an activity that the child actually likes initially, okay? So, and then what we would do is we would move down the list of activities in terms of preferred activities to less preferred activities, okay, to neutral activities, to activities that the student doesn't even prefer or like. And I would have the length of the time that the student was on the non-preferred activity initially to be of short duration, and then gradually increase the duration of the time that the child was engaging on the non-preferred activity. So what are we doing here? What's the idea? The idea is to let the child acclimate to the changes. Instead of ripping off the Band-Aid, so to speak, we're just going to kind of let him slide into this change nice and gradually and easily and comfortably, where he doesn't even recognize that there's any big issue going on here, that he or she is learning to delay gratification and learning to deal with unstructured activities in a more behaviorally appropriate way. So hopefully that makes sense. That's it. Increasing the student's ability to deal with unstructured times during the day, and increasing his or her ability to delay gratification. And there are a lot of ways you can actually set up the schedule and modify the schedule. I mean, for example, you could have 2 question marks. You can get it to the point where there are 2 question marks during the course of the school day, or the course of the day if he's at home or she's at home. So there's a lot of creative things that you can do with the schedule. Again, just to reiterate, my thought would be starting off where that question mark, the unknown, is going to be something that initially is something that the child likes, and then we just start paring it down to maybe something that he doesn't like quite so much, to a neutral, and then eventually to a non-preferred activity. And as we get to the non-preferred activities, we start with short duration, and then we start increasing the duration. If we know that he could handle a non-preferred activity without getting upset for 1 minute, then we're going to have the activity be for less than 1 minute, and eventually see if we can increase that duration as well. So that's it. Hope that made sense. Go ahead and leave comments if you want to, and see you next time. See ya.